Greetings and welcome back to room 303 in our talks with Walt, as we're calling our readings through the deathbed edition of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass. We now turn to a little poem, As If a Phantom Caressed Me. This is poem number 6 of the 18 of Whispers of Heavenly Death. Hey guys, when we started with drum taps, that cluster, I said to you guys they're really hard poems to read, and several of you have commented that they were hard poems to read, but it's almost as if these poems are even more difficult to read. I have to read the poem and then go for a long walk or a drive, and then I come back to the next poem. I can't sit and read these poems one right after the other, and certainly the preceding two poems to get us now to Phantom is going to remind us of, as we've said already, our reading and study of the Iliad, Homer's classic, and especially in 18 through 23, when Achilles loses his best pal, his lover, his Patroclus. And by the 23rd book, Patroclus is like, dude, you gotta get over this. You gotta bury me properly so I can get on with whatever is going to happen next down in Hades. And I think that Whitman is very impressioned by that reading and that study. We've commented on the fact that there's passages of Homer that he's purported to have recited aloud as he walked along the beach. And so it's clear that he's echoing and dealing with that scene as he's playing this game. Now our assumptions are that you've been with us at LearnStrong.net from the very beginning. Down that left-hand side at LearnStrong, Talks with Walt, our playlist, and that hopefully you've been with us right from the start as we've analyzed his use of any number of words, like the first word come. Here, for example, caress. Caress gets used one time in all Leaves of Grass. It's right here. But we've commented on that motif of hugging, grasping, wrestling, whatever it is, bound to, right? We have given a set of introductory comments to Whispers of Heavenly Death. I'm hopeful that you have been there, and then we just finished with Yet, and I'm hopeful that you were with us for those set of comments. Now, as we always will do, we turn to our Nortons to get some background information. And we're told that As If a Phantom Caressed Me appeared in Leaves of Grass 1860 as the final section of Debris. And then in Leaves of Grass 1867 were added the first line and the title and the final clusters of the third and fifth lines, all conforming with the poet's revisions in his so-called blue copy of Leaves of Grass 1860. Now the poem is a brief one, but a compelling one. And it reads, As if a phantom caressed me, I thought I was not alone walking here by the shore. But the one I thought was with me as now I walk by the shore, the one I love that caressed me as I lean and looked through the glimmering light, that one has utterly disappeared. And those appear that are hateful to me and mock me. Now, this construction of as if, you'll remember right from the very beginning when I read the book, as if a man really knew aught of my life. This as if construction is always powerful. And then phantom is used, you'll remember, in As I Pondered in Silence, a phantom rose before me. You can think ghost, you can think mental image, whatever that word means for you. As if a phantom caressed me. Again, the only use of caressed in all Leaves of Grass is right here. I find that compelling. I thought I was not alone walking here. This use of here and now makes the immediacy, and you'll see this in a lot of the poems in Heavenly Death, the cluster. The use of the immediacy to make the reader say, yes, I'm here with you, Whitman, right here, right now, just like in Brooklyn Ferry, very similar, right? And notice here, again, walking by the shore. We think of Song of the Open Road in his celebration of walking, obviously. We think of Song of Myself 46 and walking. But notice here, it's by the shore. And to what degree in Leaves of Grass has the ocean been a powerful metaphor for death? And coming to terms with Out of the Cradle Endlessly Rocking comes to mind, right? But, he says, the one I thought I was with, the one I thought was with me as now I walk by the shore, the one I love that caressed me as I lean, go back to Song of Myself, passage 1, lean and loaf, right? This idea of leaning, and look through the glimmering light. You'll remember Salut Amant, passage 12 is the only other use of this word glimmering. That one has, and then his word, utterly disappeared. In other words, I thought I saw someone, but they were gone. Again, I think your reading of T.S. Eliot's Little Gidding will come to mind here as well. That stranger that I met, that brown-baked stranger, right? And the way in which, who is that stranger that he's talking with? Some have have tried to speculate for Eliot who that might be. I love to think that it's in fact Whitman, because I think so much of Four Quartets, as we comment at Lernstrom, is borrowed heavily from Leaves of Grass. I think Leaves of Grass was in the psyche and soul of Eliot in ways I don't even think he completely understood. And what is it that the one I was with, the lover that I was with, has been replaced with? Those that are hateful. Hateful gets used one only time in all Leaves of Grass. It's right here. Hateful to me and mock me. You'll remember this use of mock of the terrible doubt of appearances, the idea of being mocked. It is in some ways a part of reading Whitman, to know that he was acutely aware of how he at times was mocked, ridiculed, made fun of. Obviously, it's part of that messianic view of the prophet who is never completely appreciated, understood. How are we going to deal with this poem at 2a and messages, themes? Well, I think that the argument that's being made here, and all three of these poems taken as a collection, is that letting the dead lover go is so painful. It is so difficult, and let's say it out loud, it's a process. It's a process. It's a process, however, that many will mock, not understand, right? Not appreciate in some profound way. At 2b, I'll only point this out because at the rhetorical level of reading Leaves of Grass, I am fascinated by the words that only get used one time in all Leaves of Grass. So, for example, caressed only used one time, hateful only used one time, and it's in this poem. At 3a, I love the idea of leaning as it relates to John Donne's valediction forbidding mourning. It leans and hearkens after it as that comes home. I love that use of the word leaning, as well, obviously borrowing from different parts of Leaves of Grass. And then obviously, it's no question, Iliad 23 for sure, I think, is in the back of Whitman's mind. Patroclus's ghost or phantom visiting Achilles to say, please, let's finish this thing. And then think about the implications of that. I mean, what a brilliant poem Iliad is, right? And think about the implications of that as it relates then to the conversation that Achilles will have with Priam, who is begging for the body of his son Hector. And ultimately, Achilles will have that moment of pathos. And what is it that they talk about? I mean, we've talked about this at length at Lernstrom, but what is it that they talk about? They talk about death, they talk about dying, and they talk about sons and fathers. Got it. Makes sense. Finally, at 3b, how are you going to own a poem like this? Well, I don't know. Do you believe in phantoms? Do you believe in ghosts? Obviously, we go back to Dickens and the Christmas Carol, where Marley's going to visit Scrooge at the beginning, the ghost of the phantom of Marley. Do you believe in that kind of thing at all? Do you believe that those who have already passed to the other side have some capacity to correspond and to share ideas? Clearly, they do on some level. That's why we're reading Leaves of Grass, written by a guy named Walt Whitman. I hope these poems are comforting you and challenging you. Thank you.